Hello, my name is Jeff Belanger and I live here in Bellingham. I'm a homeowner and a dad with a child in the Bellingham School System. If you live in Bellingham, if you own a home or a business here, this is especially important that you watch and spend the next few minutes with us because this affects you directly. On Tuesday, May 5th, 2015, the town is holding elections at the high school. One item on the ballot is the school committee. The reason the school committee is so important is because how well our schools perform directly correlates to your property value, the tax base of our community, and of course the well-being and future potential of our kids. This vote matters. In the last election in 2014, only 270 people voted in town out of a possible 10,534 registered voters. Though it was an uncontested election, that's a really small representation of our town. There are 4 people on this stage right here with me, and all of us care deeply about our schools in town. But only these 3 folks next to me are running for school committee. Before the interview, I asked each candidate to draw a number out of the hat to determine where they sit on stage. So let's meet these folks. Please welcome Mark Flannery, Beverly Pierce, and Melissa Jacques. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I'd like to start going down the line. We're going to start with you, Mark, who drew the first number. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself and why you're running.
Sure. My name's Mark Flannery. I live on Farm Street. I've lived in Bellingham for almost 17 years. I have 2 children that attend the Bellingham school systems, one at Stallbrook and one at the middle school. I've been volunteering for a number of years with the school department, and I just basically want to make the schools a better, I want to increase academic achievement for the schools, for my children and for the other children in town. That's my primary goal.
Thank you, Mark. All right, next we're going to hear from Beverly Pierce. Same question, Beverly. Tell us about yourself and why you're running.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm Beverly Pierce, as you said. I've lived in Bellingham about 8 years. I've been pretty much involved in everything my kids do. I have 3 of them here in town since they've been in school. And I'm basically running for school committee because I want to have a positive influence on their education and on the school system for the rest of the town. Been a lot of things going on in town, and we have a lot of big decisions to make and a lot of issues to follow, and I want to be involved in that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
And finally, Melissa Jacques. Same question. Why are you running, and tell us about yourself.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Jacques. I live on Twin Brook Lane. I moved to Bellingham 2 years ago with my husband, Paul. I am a special education teacher, and one of the main reasons why I am running is because I would like to use my teaching experience to get more involved in the community. Using my teaching experience to make an impact in the school committee, more on the behind-the-scenes look to make sure our schools are the best that they can be.
Excellent. And so everyone understands there are 2 open positions and 3 people running. So this is an important election. I want to understand, how do you see the role of school committee person? How do you see that role and you in it? Let's just start with Mark.
Thanks. Well, the role of school committee is actually there are 2 roles, 2 primary roles of the school committee. The first is to set the budget. The second is to set policy. Those are essentially the 2 functions of the school committee. Now, those functions directly influence, how our school system functions, because we have, the budget specifically determines, what resources we have, so that we know how many teachers, what sort of assets that we need, all the things that basically follow, that will determine how well our children do. So
right.
That's really the 2 primary goals.
Beverly, what about you in the role? How would you see your position as a school committee member?
Well, I think it's important for anybody who involved in any committee, of course, especially one as important as a school committee, to be able to be a team player. You've got to be able to listen to the other committee members, the school administration, the teachers, the parents, and the students. And you have to be able to make decisions. Some of them might be tough. You've got to be able to make your point and be able to disagree, I think, very tactfully, because that's going to happen no matter what. And I think that those are qualities that I possess, and I think I'd be good at it.
Right. And Melissa?
Sure. We have a very tight budget coming up in this upcoming fiscal year, using a small amount of resources to maximize our potential in the school system is a top priority. Working together as a team with the other committee members, but also more the community as well to see what untapped potential we could find.
All right. So I told you we would have a little fun with this too. We do have a question from one of the people you'd be serving. Let's take a look, please.
What was your favorite subject in school?
All right. Sophie, thank you. Let's start with you, Melissa. Favorite subject in school?
Art.
Art.
I really, really enjoyed art and the hands-on painting and the clay and just creating everything I could.
All right, Beverly?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd have to pick between two, and mine are in the arts as well. Music and theater, but I guess I would have to say music.
All right.
Music. Still do it today.
And Mark?
My favorite subject was chemistry.
Nice. See, we asked the tough questions here, you know? That's good. Okay, so there's a new superintendent that's going to be coming on board next year. So there's a lot of new blood that's coming in. What would be your expectations of the superintendent? This time we'll give Mark a break and we'll start down here with you, Melissa.
Sure. We're lucky enough to have Mr. Morano coming to us from the high school, so he is familiar with everything that's going on with the schools. Just keeping that high level of expectations that he kept as a principal in the high school and continuing that as a superintendent.
Okay. And how about you, Beverly?
I too agree that it's great that he's been here at the district so that he knows all the issues that could arise. He knows all the planning that's been involved up to this point. I think that you said a lot of new blood, and I think that might be a good thing. I think budget-wise, I think that might be a very good thing.
Right. And Mark, what's your expectations of our new superintendent?
Well, I have very high expectations for Mr. Morano. I feel that you know, he's prepared to lead the district, but he has to work in conjunction with the school committee. The school committee basically needs to be able to give him the resources that he needs so that he can succeed and we can move this district forward so that our students can succeed.
Right, and ultimately he answers to you folks. And as our elected officials, right, you're representing us. And so you can't understate how important this position is in town. You really can't. So many things are affected by how well the schools perform, families that may or may not want to move into our community because of the school's performance, and so on. So it really is, it's critical, which is why I wanted to do this tonight, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. So let's talk about some of the things that you think the Bellingham schools are doing right at the moment. Let's start with you, Beverly. What do you think the schools are doing pretty well right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are being done right. I think the current school committee has had a very tough job over the last few years, and I think they've done it to the best they can. You know, they've taken a lot of flack for what's going on in town, and I think they've done a really good job. And I think that specifically, you know, trying to improve the programs that we've been doing. I know Mr. Morano in the high school. All the administrators have been trying to improve, and I think that's something we need to continue.
Right. How about you, Mark?
Well, I think that you know, the biggest improvement that I've seen over the last few years has been the curriculum standardization. Essentially, for many years, the elementary schools had separate curriculums. And so there's been a concerted effort to standardize the curriculum so that we can give every student in the district the same exact opportunities.
Right. And same to you, Melissa. What do you like in the system right now?
We have a really great curriculum right now. There's still more work that we can do. Great staff all throughout the buildings. They've been very supportive, especially with all the changes. So it's been very enjoyable meeting many of them.
Now, Macy School is closing. We're going to be merging those classrooms with the other elementary schools. The classroom sizes are growing quite a bit. That's one of my concerns as a dad, watching my daughter's classroom size increase. What can the school committee do to help give the schools, these elementary schools especially, the resources they're going to need for this influx? And, of course, later on, middle school and then high school. Let's start over here this time with you, Melissa.
Just keeping an eye on the enrollment figures coming in. They have tentative numbers in the low 20s, which is really, really great. But making sure as they go on, there are some class sizes that may increase, making sure we have the adequate staffing levels for these kids. We don't have large class sizes, making sure every student's needs get met.
Right. And Mark, same to you.
Well, I would say this, that the class size actually isn't not going to go up with the realignment. It's pretty much the number of teachers has remained the same, and the number of students is close to the same, maybe slightly decreased from last year to this year. So the student to teacher ratio is essentially the same. But what I think where we need to get some additional support is with some of the extra teachers, so to speak, the specialists, the math specialists, the reading specialists, AP certified teachers in the high school level. I think that we, those sort of support teachers that the district has lacked over the years, we can really strengthen our performance by having those types of staff.
And Beverly, same question to you. How can the school committee help with this merger?
Well, I think the school committee just needs to be attentive to any issues that arise. As far as the class size, it's just something that we're going to have to keep track of. Like Melissa said, enrollment numbers, and that's something that the administration and the committee is constantly watching. And we're just going to have to, try to work within the current budget to get the support staff that might be necessary in those classrooms.
Now, we talked about some of the things the school's doing well, and I know we've touched on the question I'm going to ask next, which is, maybe if you could focus, is there one point that you think we really need to do better? Let's start with you this time, Mark. What can the schools do better? What's important to you?
Well, right now, I would say that academic achievement is number one. I think we can do a better job in it. Our standardized test scores over the years have been lower than all of the surrounding communities. So I feel that we can just do a better job in general. We need to strengthen that curriculum that we've kind of standardized and have staff that can help push the teachers forward to make sure that any gaps that we find can get filled.
Okay. Same question to you, Melissa. What's a point for you that you think needs improvement?
I think we have a really strong elementary curriculum, but we don't want to forget about the upper grades of our elementary, middle school, high school. They too need to be thought of as well to ensure that we are meeting the needs of the students and they have the best academics possible.
Right. Beverly?
I agree with Melissa, actually. I think that in addition to test scores, our older kids, our high school, I think that we need to have more programs available to those kids that are getting prepared for college. I mean, we need to get them more technology. I guess more of the STEM programs that are really necessary, and I would really like to see that happen.
Yeah. No, you folks touched on academic achievement. That's one of my big concerns. And I say that because I like Bellingham. I think it's a great community. Mm-hmm. It's convenient. We've got a lot going for us. But if you're looking at families that are going to decide what town to live in, as you touched on, our scores are lower than neighboring towns. Those families are going to choose neighboring towns. This sea rises all ships. We get our schools better, everything does better. Quickly. We're not talking 10, 20 years down the road. Very quickly this starts to turn things around, which is why this is so important to me. And I want you folks to meet someone else who you'd be serving. This is going to be the curveball question that you've been dreading since I asked you to do this. Take a look. Tanya.
Did you ever get sent to the principal's office? And if so, why?
Ever sent to the principal's office? I'm going to let that soak in for a second because you're all praying you're not the first one to go. So let's just start nearest to me, Melissa. Ever sent to the principal's office as a kid?
I don't think so. I want to.
Oh, come on.
I might have once because I was copying somebody's homework, but I don't remember.
Oh, thank you for your honesty. Beverly?
Yes, I have. And I probably would have to admit that it was more than once.
This is good.
I used to talk a lot when I was in elementary school, and back then we had the the S's and the O's and the U's, and I got a U in conduct in 2nd grade, and I had to talk to the principal.
Mark?
Yes, in 5th grade, a friend of mine and the two of us went down to the principal ourselves to complain that we were not having outdoor recess in the middle of the winter when it was freezing out. We were unhappy with indoor recess, and it did not go well.
Trying to change the system even as a youngster. That's great. I think that's serving you well to become a school committee member. Okay, we're just about out of time, but what I'd like to do now, if we could go down the line. Mark, we started with you at the beginning of the show. This time, let's start with Melissa. I'd like you to make an appeal to those watching why you're the best candidate for school committee.
Sure. I am really interested in getting more involved with the community. I would like to take my education skills that I use on a day-to-day basis in the classroom and use them more in the behind-the-scenes resources to best meet all the needs that we have here in Bellingham.
All right, thank you. And Beverly, same question to you. Let's tell them why you're running.
Again, I'm running because I want to be involved in my kids' education, and I want to be involved in my town. Like you, Jeff, I really have grown to love Bellingham, and I think we do have a lot to offer, and to make us an enticing community would be really great.
Right. And Mark, why are you the best candidate?
I feel I'm the best candidate because I feel I'm the most experienced. I've been going to school committee meetings for about 5 years straight. I think that I have the best combination of academic, as far as trying to increase academics, as well as looking at the fiscal responsibility that the school committee has for the town.
Right. Okay. And one last question. As I mentioned earlier, there are 2 open seats. There are 3 of you running. If you're not elected, what are you going to do to help our schools? Let's start here, Melissa.
Definitely would like to see, when we do have children, more involved in the PTO. Go on from there.
Excellent. Beverly?
I'll continue to stay involved and continue to attend the meetings as I have been doing for the last couple of years, and just make my voice heard whenever I can.
Right. And you, Mark?
Well, I think no matter what happens, I'm going to continue to participate in subcommittees and try to have my voice heard so that I can make sure our school district is the best it can be for my children and the rest of the community's children.
Excellent. I really appreciate you folks coming out here to talk about this. Bellingham is a great town. It's a great community, and our schools deserve to be as good as they possibly can be, which is why we need you to go vote May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. You can't forget it. Tuesday, May 5th. At the high school. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. all day long. No excuses. Get out. Please vote. Please let your voice be heard. And thank you for watching.